limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. Jet, we Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Ric Flairin', gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death, I'm Paul Bearing, not at all scary. When I open like Betty Wops and find to these circles that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness, it's really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, black son, we ain't nothing like them other guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Miggy for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids, D-Phase. Yeah. Bubba C. Yeah. Ric Flairin' on them. Ric Flairin' on them. Ric Flairin' on them. Ric Flairin' son up.
Hey, yo, Scotty, you going crazy for this one. We see what you're doing, we salute you. Hey, let's get it started. It's Backpack Capital One. What's in your wallet? Got a call from my man A. Scott. I said I got it. Love that you highlighting all of these black colleges. Try to pay me for doing this. Look, bruh, if you don't get off my line with that foolishness, voice of the swag, pull up where you at. No cap if the Brody is speaking the soft facts. My advice, tune in to every show. Captain Petty, but we know that the sergeants are with the smoke. Speculate, just tell me what is we doing. Get into it, okay, look, I'ma say this and keep it moving. My boy Scotty, man, he offered the least. Black grad, paying college, I'm glad that he called me. Walking cause we all been taught that talk is cheap. Even primetime knows Scott for the HBCU streets.
What is going on, everybody? You already know what it is. It's your boy Scotty back with another one. Listen, okay, first of all, I want to thank you all for joining me on this Monday evening. I don't know the last time I've done an interview. So this one is very, very special to me. Before we get into it, I gotta pay some bills. So you already know this show is sponsored by Elite 15 Coffee. You want to do things in an elite way, you got to make sure you get yourself some Elite 15 Coffee, Black-owned, veteran-owned business. Listen, start your day in an elite way. You got to get Elite 15 Coffee, okay? Elite 15 Coffee. No one better to do it than that. All right, listen. So let me tell you how this came about, right? Me and Coach Stout have a mutual friend reached out to me. He's like, hey, Scotty, man, listen. Hey, I got a guy. My guy got put on at UAPB. First of all, I'm like, it's UAPB. Okay. Not many people talk about UAPB. So he's like, hey, listen, I'm telling you, the man's a game changer. You got to check him out. So I go, I'm on Twitter and I'm just seeing it go crazy, like hashtag Coach Stout, hashtag Logan Stout. And I'm like, who is this dude? We link up together. He puts us in contact together. Now you got the interview of the century. So please, without further ado, give it up for my today's guest, Coach Logan Stout.
Thank you, my man. Happy to be here. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. How about that? Listen, that UAPB gold look good on you, sir.
You like it? My wife likes it, so I'm good, right?
Hey, listen, that's hey, as long as the wife likes it, you straight. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
you are absolutely straight. How's your day going?
It's going wonderful, man. Busy. As soon as we get finished here, I'm going to head to Arkansas, so I'll be there tonight. But I'm sitting in an empty office at my house that we're moving out of. So we're moving and we're excited.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Now, listen. This is just like I told you on the phone. It's a friendly conversation. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna talk some stuff. But before I get into the interview, I gotta break the ice with you. Gotta get a little star bench cut. All right, now. These are some high-level pictures. You are a baseball guy, you know what I'm saying? So you got to give me your start, bench, cut with Major League Baseball pictures.
Ooh, man. A little prep would have been nice. No, like I'm going to make somebody mad here because back in the day, I was a scout with the Braves.
Okay.
So obviously, I could get in trouble there. Trevor Story, who's one of my players I've coached, is with the Red Sox. And, obviously Randy Johnson's the most intimidating pitcher to ever step on a mound, but I'd have to start Pedro because I believe if my memory is correct, he's the highest rated pitcher of all time. So I'd start Pedro and I would actually bench Randy to bring him in off the bench to close a little left on left. And I'd have to cut Greg Maddux because he's been golfing too much. And, he and I need to hit the links anyway. So
I like it. So you're starting Pedro, you're benching Randy. That's not a bad bench right there, Randy Johnson. And you're cutting Greg Maddux because he's playing too much golf. I like it. Listen, I love Pedro. I've been a Red Sox fan for a good little minute. A little mixed with a little Texas Ranger doing that Josh Hamilton era. But I like it. Okay, got a little. I like how you going there. Let's get into a little icebreakers. Your favorite athlete of all time, no matter what sport, baseball, basketball, football, just you like, man, when I see that guy, that's my guy right there.
Oh, that's a tough one. Growing up, I was a basketball guy, and so I actually was a much better basketball player than baseball player. And J.J. Pierce High School in Richardson, Texas, and was the district MVP and all that stuff. And it's funny, my wife and I grew up together since 7th grade, and we ran into each other. She goes, "Oh, what are you up to?" I said, I'm playing professional baseball. And she said, "Baseball? You mean basketball?" I said, "No, baseball." So my point is, that's a tough one. But I would have to say Magic Johnson was my dude as a kid. I was a point guard, watching the way that guy ran the floor and his vision, the way he elevated his teammates. I loved watching him. Baseball wise, Pudge Rodriguez, who is since now a very close friend, but I loved watching that guy play the game. You'd be rare to see a baseball player have more fun playing baseball than Pudge Rodriguez. So I loved him, but I don't know, man. My favorite players, honestly, are the ones that I got to coach. Like,
oh, that's cool. I like that.
Josh Bell with the Marlins. He's with the Marlins right now. I mean, me and the family, we watch every one of his ABs. And so, AJ Minter with the Braves. Of course, Trevor Story with the Red Sox that I referenced. But I don't know. I don't have a favorite. I think I just value – I value people that are excellent at their craft and take pride in their craft and are excellent teammates. Those are the people that I enjoy watching.
I like that. Your favorite baseball movie?
Depends on what mood I'm in. Major League that's a tough one. Obviously, if you want a good laugh, Field of Dreams. I mean, I tear up every time I watch that movie. I've never seen it.
Is that the one that said you build it, they will come? They
will come, which is horrible business advice. But yes, if you build it, they will come. But there's so many good. The Natural. I mean, I don't know. There's a ton. I just watched Field of Dreams with my kids, and that was a cool moment as a dad, getting to watch that with the kids. And explaining to him Shoeless Joe Jackson and just all the legends of the game.
That's dope. That's dope. For me, I've always liked Moneyball. I love Moneyball. I don't know why.
Moneyball, I think I have a love-hate relationship with that. You know, for one, I've been with the Texas Rangers, as a scout, Bobby Crook is one of their scouting directors, and Chris Young and I grew up together since grade school. He's the GM president now, or whatever his title is. But I've been a Ranger fan my whole life, so I'm not going to, no disrespect to the A's, but they're in our division, and I don't really care about anything that makes them look good. Although I say that, Shea Langoliers, their starting catcher, played for me, and so I root for him. For him. So they're doing a good job. I mean, it's a tough situation for the A's. I mean, with that whole deal of it. Playing at a AAA park and getting a new stadium built and all that stuff, moving to Vegas. It's going to be interesting.
It is. It definitely is. If money was not an option, what would you buy?
Oh, I don't know if I should answer that question. What would I buy? I don't know. I been kind of fortunate in life. I don't know. I've learned that stuff isn't all that important. I know, because I've seen me buy it. It's not that important. And you learn real quick that it's just, when your mindset's about getting stuff, you realize that there's never enough, and it doesn't bring you peace. It doesn't bring you happiness. I will say this though, my favorite thing I've ever done that cost a ton of money is I love going on a private yacht. I love that. I love being on the ocean. I love being left alone. And one of my business partners, this guy named Darwin Deason. Darwin grew up in a small farm in Arkansas, actually. Grew up dirt poor. He borrowed $50 to move to the bright lights of Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is funny because back then Tulsa was tiny. But he worked in a mailroom at a company, became the CEO. They sold it, took his proceeds, started a company called ACS, Affiliated Computer Systems, which he sold for $6.8 billion. So anyway, I'm launching a company about just over 10 years ago, and we're hosting a launch event at the Hilton Anatole in Dallas, Texas. And I get word from Larry North. Larry North is one of the most famous. He's actually, I think, the first personal trainer ever inducted in the Hall of Fame, the Personal Trainer Hall of Fame. He had the longest running radio show. He's awesome, awesome dude. I love him. And he calls me. He said, "Hey, Darwin Deason wants to meet you. And he's going to show up to the Anatole for your event and would like to sit by you." And I'm like, Darwin Deason? Wow. Like in the business world, he's a legend, And so sure enough, he comes. He goes, "I want to invest in your company." And I was like, "Well, we're not taking investors." And he goes, "Let's just meet over at my house on Monday." So I go over to his house on Monday, and I say a house. It's $100 million palace is what it is. But so I'm sitting there, and the screen comes down, and it's this video from Forbes. I'm sure you can look it up on Forbes, of his yacht called Apogee, 205-foot mega yacht. At the time, it was the largest privately owned yacht in the world. And I thought yachting, I was thinking like Love Boat, if y'all remember that. Like, I don't want to be stuck on a boat, And I'm watching this video, and he goes, "If you'll let me invest, you can use the yacht." I go, "Welcome to the team."
Hey, listen.
And so, and so that has by far been the most insane experience of my life, is getting to do that. I mean, it's just stupid money. It's a waste of money. I'd rather donate it to charity. But if you were asking me if money was not an option, I would buy a yacht. I like it. Two more questions for these icebreakers. What is one thing people would never guess about you? Do you sing? You juggle? I used to lead worship at my church, play the guitar and sang. Like worship leader, like Hillsong worship leader type. I was the Oh, okay. Yeah, people may not know that. Of course, I feel horrible for the congregation having to listen to me sing. That's one of those where you tell them, "Hey, Jesus needs to hear you. Sing louder so you can't hear me." Yeah. But I did that. I don't think people knew how I grew up. Raised by a single mom. Basically worked since the age of 12. I wrote about it in the first book I wrote, but I don't think until that book came out, people really understood all they see is the successes or the failures for that matter. And they don't see the journey. They don't see what made you. And, they said there's no such thing as a smooth mountain. How in the world would we climb it if there were, right? I mean, you need the pitfalls to help boost you up to those next levels in life. I don't know. I don't know. I've kind of done a few different things in life. And so I don't know what they wouldn't know, but I definitely probably be number one, which is why I have such a huge heart and passion for mentoring our future leaders of the world, and why I took the job at UAPB. Honestly, it's a passion project for me, not a job. And so, but I would say, yeah, I don't think people knew that I played the guitar and led worship at a church. That'd probably be the one thing that go, huh, didn't know that.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'll vote for that one. I'll vote for that one. And last one, I usually use this for athletes, but any routines you have to do before you speak, before you go on stage? Is it call your family? Is it, for me, before I played football, I had to get a nap in. I just had to get a nap. So any routines that you have to do before you speak?
I've done so many of them now, and it's an honor. I still love doing them. And, it's an honor when companies hire you to come speak at their events and whatnot. I can tell you, I do a quick prayer, and it's Lord, I pray that you'll speak through me. May this be about adding value to the audience, not about making me look good. And may I make a huge impact to the people out there in the audience. And that's my prayer.
I love it. All right, let's get into this. Listen, what everybody came to see, how did UAPB get on your radar? Because it's UAPB, like, it's UAPB. So it's like Dallas, Texas, Frisco, all that, to UAPB. Tell us about the journey.
Yeah. So Torrey Hunter is a dear friend of mine, and we've invested in some things together, owned some companies together. And so that's how I got to know about Pine Bluff. We were playing golf, I think, one day, and he was just, I said, Torrey, where are you from? He said, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I'm like, oh, it was kind of one of those, I have no idea where that is, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And I've heard of the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff just because I've been involved in baseball for so long, but, nothing, that's about it. No details. And we started talking about it. And, every year around May, my phone rings, end of May. It's either athletic directors or head coaches calling me saying, hey, we have an opening. Would you be interested? If not, who do you recommend? And so for years, the season was not right for me to go back and be a college coach. It wasn't the right season, but I always knew I would at some point. When I left Dallas Baptist University and I was coaching there, I always knew I'd come back to it. It was just a matter of when, not if. And for the last 2 years, I've really been just looking for the right one. And it's interesting. I actually got offered another job, Division I college head coaching job. And I was driving home from that campus when I got the phone call from A.D. Robinson, Chris, the athletic director at UAPB. Torrey had sent him my information. And basically, long story short, I loved listening to his heart and his vision for what he wanted to get accomplished. And, some people love managing things. I don't. I love building things. And that's why, people always say, man, you start this company and then man, it's rocking and rolling. You can retire for life. Why would you start another company? It's like, I'm not, I guess two things. One, my golf game's not good enough just to play golf 6 days a week. I've tried that. Didn't work well. Right. Number two is I need something that wakes me up. That's a passion project. And the beautiful thing about college coaching is there's a new season every year. So every year you're building something, right? Whereas like a company, you start a company, if you're fortunate enough, Lord willing, you have a lot of success and boom, you make a positive impact in the world. You make money. That's great. But then it's like, okay, it's this big company, just there it is, Yeah. Whereas with coaching, you have new players every year, right? You have a new schedule every year. There's a new challenge every year. And so UAPB, my relationship with Torrey, Chris Robinson in the athletic department came down to Frisco, Texas, and I met with them. Frisco is where we live. It's actually in this empty house that I'm sitting in now, because we're moving to Arkansas. But and I just fell in love with the people. I mean, I just believe the difference between a dream and a nightmare is the who. You can be in rush hour traffic, right? With the right person, you can have a great time. You could be at the greatest 5-star resort or yacht, but if you're with the wrong person, it's a nightmare. And so I wanted an athletic director that would give me the keys and say, go do your thing, man. And in college sports, there's two different kinds of athletic directors. There's working ADs that are working and making things happen. Then there's ones that just kind of sit back. I had to be somebody that wanted to work and build and do something special and put UAPB on the map. And I'm just very humbled and very honored that I get to be a part of this incredible university, 150-year legacy. I mean, I love everybody from Q, the ticket sales guy, to Mrs. Lockett, I call her the queen of the library, to our concession guys. I mean, everybody on campus is unbelievable.
That's dope. That's dope. And that's the vibe that most HBCUs give off. And I'm glad you're experiencing that at UAPB. What is your vision for UAPB baseball? Because they haven't been the most well-known program in the SWAC. You know, you have Alabama State, you have Southern with Ricky Weeks, I believe, you know, him being a Hall of Famer going to Southern. Then you have FAMU baseball coming into its own. So what is your vision for UAPB baseball? Oh, I think you're frozen. Oh, I think we lost them. Yep, definitely froze. Hold on, I'm texting them, guys. All right, so I kicked him out. He gonna come back in and he'll join us in. But absolutely love it. Listen, love the energy that Coach Logan Stout is bringing to UAPB baseball. I'm glad that the AD is letting them work, man. Sometimes when you have somebody influential like Coach Scott, you just want somebody to let him do his thing. Okay,
we're back.
Coach Scott, appreciate you. So, like I said, UAPB baseball hasn't been very well known for its success like other SWAC institutions, like FAMU's on the rise, Alabama State's baseball is on the rise. But what's your vision for UAPB baseball?
Well, in the locker room, we have our own visions with the players, and that's for us to own and control, and we can share that publicly when the timing's right. But bottom line is, we're going to build a winning culture, a leadership culture. Losing is not in my vocabulary. It's not something that I'm a fan of, whether it's as a coach or business or whatever. I just don't like losing, and so we're going to get winners, and we're going to bring guys in that have a deep passion to do something that perhaps has never been done at an HBCU or SWAC school. And so, everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on the who. The who make the culture, right? The culture isn't just a mission statement or a list of core values. Those are great. Those can be guiding lights. But ultimately, it's the people wearing the jersey that make the culture. It's a byproduct of the who. And I'm very excited about the locker room. Brought in 39 guys in 3 weeks. I mean, that's been the biggest reality check is we had 3 weeks to put a team together. You know, 3 weeks to put a coaching staff together. We've built an unbelievable schedule for 2025. Playing SEC schools and some teams that have gone to Omaha in the last 24 months, which is going to be a big change. If you look at the schedule from 2024, they played some good schools, but it was not obviously College World Series caliber team. So I'm okay. David versus Goliath. I'm okay with that because I think that's going to prepare us for the SWAC. I think putting an easy schedule together doesn't benefit anybody. It may make the coach's winning percentage look better, but if you care about your personal winning percentage, you're in it for the wrong reasons. And so for me, it's about developing these players. I've been involved in Major League Baseball for 22 years on the scouting side, and so I want to get these players drafted. There's a lot of great players at HBCU that get overlooked, and I'm going to have time with all these dudes, for an entire year, and I'll be able to put a scouting report together on these players. The ones that deserve to get drafted, I'm going to do everything in my power to get them drafted, and I want UAPB to be a draft factory. I want it to be a place where players know they can come. They're going to get developed as men, get developed as players. They're going to win. They're going to learn how to be a great teammate because that carries over into life, not just in sports, right? And they're going to learn how to look at life the right way. Great attitude, great effort, great focus. And ultimately, when you do those things and you have the tools, obviously I'm recruiting guys with draftable tools, guys that can run, throw, catch, hit for average hit for power. It's just a matter of having a door open for you. And I look in my life, how people have opened doors for me that I could have never opened for myself. I want to do that for these players. I want to do that for UAPB. And I want to do that for Pine Bluff. And I really, any environment that God puts my family in, we're there to be value adds. I want to add value. And I think that's what people can expect out of UAPB. I think you're going to see, I don't look at UAPB from a baseball standpoint. I don't look at it as we're affiliated with this or affiliated with that. No, we're 40 players that are to come out here and do everything in our power to make history. That's what we're doing. And I don't like the narrative. Well, you don't have all the scholarships, or you don't have this, or that, or you don't have. I'm not worried about what we don't have.
Yeah,
I'm focused on what we do have. And I know what it's like to have nothing. I grew up that way, right? I know what it's like to have more than I need. And sometimes that cannot be a good thing. and so at the end of the day, it's how do you get a collection of guys to all come together as a unified front? How do you do that? Well, that's what leaders do, right? That's what leaders do. And individuals play the game, but teams win championships. And I think there's an interesting moment in time in college sports, college baseball is obviously what we're talking about here, where if leaders can understand how to unify a group of players in an NIL world, in a transfer portal world, and if leaders can truly understand that valuing the human is more important than simply the athlete, that's someone's child, and I talk to these parents, I make it clear, listen, I have 2 boys. I am a dad.
Yeah.
I'm going to coach these dudes just like I coach my own sons. And every player I've had the honor to coach, from Miles and Cooper's little Dallas Patriots 11U team this past year to even when they're younger, their basketball team, the Legacy Eagles or the whatever, I coach every kid on that team like I do my own sons. And that's exactly how I'm going to coach these dudes. It's because I love them. And I believe God put them in my life for a reason, to serve them, to mentor them about life and about baseball. And so I think that's a loaded answer for what you were hoping was probably a simple answer. But I think it's a lot bigger and deeper of an answer than what I think the world is expecting out of that question. At least for me, it is.
No, and I completely understand it. And I think that goes into a 2-part question is, what is a Coach Stout type of baseball player? What are you looking to bring in? And what will your staff look like? Because, they say a ship is only good as who's running it, right? So what does that staff entail that you're looking to bring on for UAPB?
Well, I mean, success leaves clues. Winners find a way to win. Losers find a way to lose. It is what it is, man. And I'm looking for dudes who find a way to win. Period. Documentation beats conversation. And then with that, I'm looking for dudes that are great teammates. So it's one thing to win, but you're not going to win long-term if you're not a great teammate. I'll give you an example. Barbara Corcoran is a friend. She wrote the foreword on my most recent book, Grit Factor. Barbara is a shark on the show Shark Tank. And I'll never forget, she and I are having dinner. And I said, Barbara, what was one of the biggest turning points in your career? What was the biggest learning lessons? And she goes, I'll never forget, I fired my best salesperson. I went, Barbara, maybe you didn't understand my question. I said, what was the best? What was it?
Yeah.
She goes, no, I fired my best salesperson. They were driving me crazy. Nobody could stand the person. Long story short, finally my emotions got the better of me. I went, you're fired. And I went into my office and cried because I realized we were going to go out of business because that person was out producing everybody on the team. And I don't remember exactly how the story went, but Barbara said basically she felt a little knock on her door, and it was one of the staff. And she goes, Barbara, we're going to do this. Thank you for firing that person. None of us could stand him. Long story short, they went on to have record-breaking success. She sold the Corcoran Group. Now we're on Shark Tank. But the turning point was getting rid of the turd. Getting rid of the turd, right? Yeah. If you don't get rid of that turd, it's just going to stink more and more and more and more and more as time goes on. The more successful that turd is, the more it stinks. Yeah. And it disrupts your entire culture. In baseball, it disrupts your entire locker room. And so I'm looking for dudes who absolutely can't stand losing. It's expected to win. And guys that are great teammates. But I'm looking for dudes too that honestly, they want to get better. They realize that baseball comes and goes at some point. Who do you become along the way? And so I want to pour into these dudes as young men. If they want to be an entrepreneur, I want to mentor them on how to start a company, right? If some of these guys are older now, right? If they're engaged, I want to mentor them on how to be a great husband, right? Help them learn from my mistakes, right? Whatever it is they're wanting to do, I want to mentor them off the field. I want to teach them, listen, your thoughts lead to actions, actions lead to habits, habits lead to results. I'm going to repeat that. Thoughts lead to actions, actions lead to habits, habits lead to results. We're all habitual human beings. Yeah. So the problem with most people is they may have uphill dreams, but they have downhill habits. You can't go uphill with downhill habits. You need uphill habits because the man or woman at the top of Success Mountain didn't just fall there, right? It takes work and it takes grit, and anything that's worth it is going to take longer, cost more, and be more stressful than you ever imagined. And that's how you know it's worth it. So what kind of player am I looking for? Guys that have gone through adversity. I'm looking for, in baseball, you're going to go through adversity. It's just a matter of when. And then the question is, do you go through it or do you grow through it? And so when I see players that have had to overcome something, then I look at how they overcame it. Did they throw a pity party? Because it's time to turn the lights off, pop the balloons. Nobody cares about your pity party.
Yeah.
Right? Are they going to play the victim? Right? They have a victim mindset. Well, yeah. I mean, you can hear on the phone if a kid's a victim. Hey, tell me what happened at this school. Right? Like I brought some kids on. Their stats last year were terrible, but they were part of a bad atmosphere, honestly. Right? And a great player can have a bad result. So anyway, my first question is to tell me what happened. I looked at your stats. What happened? And if they start blaming people, I'm done. Don't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
If they own it, well, hey, bottom line, I didn't perform. I know I can. I didn't get it done. And I'm just excited about where I'm going to be next. Like, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, great. Because what defines you? The ink's dry on those pages. There's no point in rehashing the dry ink. But you have blank pages staring you right in the face. Go write history in those blank pages, right? There's a reason that it's not called a fairy tale, the story about your life. It's called a biography. And in that biography, there's going to be ups and downs. You look at any great movie, there are times of adversity, right? There's a villain, there's struggles, and that's what makes the movie worth watching, right? If the movie was some character, everything was great all the time, that would nobody care to watch that movie. And so I just, I think, what kind of player do I want? What kind of coaching staff do I want? It's guys that have overcome something. It's guys that they've got some scars, some battle wounds, and they're going to take those into war. They're fearless, and they're going to take those into war, And so the coaching staff we brought on is incredible. RJ Pearson was on staff at University of Central Arkansas. Everybody said nothing but amazing things about this young man. Everybody said nothing but amazing things. He's going to be great. Coach Moyer's our pitching coach. He's one of only 295 people on the planet that can say he's the all-time wins leader at a Division I university.
Oh, wow.
And so he's unbelievable, a winner. Again, he's a winner. Success leaves clues. Braylon Hintz, great baseball family, incredible hardworking family he comes from. He's currently with the Los Angeles Dodgers. He'll be coming to us as our volunteer assistant coach. He's unbelievable. I've got a grad assistant coming in from the Northeast. He's an All-American catcher, data guy. So he'll be phenomenal just with scouting reports, data. So we got incredible coaching staff. We have Eric, who's our student manager. I love Eric. Don't ever leave out your student managers, coaches. Those guys, they don't get the credit they deserve. And, Eric does an amazing job. And, I recruit, let me put it this way. I believe you become who you hang around. So one of the number one things I mentor my sons on, Miles and Cooper, I said, boys, you become who you hang around. No one's immune from that. Choose wisely. Choose wisely. And so for me, I'm going to surround myself with people I want my sons around. I'm going to surround myself with people that I want to be around, people that are going to make me better. And that's the culture that we're going to create here at UAPB. I'm not, I get pretty fired up when I talk about when people say, oh, UAB or HBCU or SWAC. No, we're a Division I college baseball team full of dudes.
Yeah.
And that's what we are. And it's going to be unbelievable. And I'm fired up. Even though we've had 3 weeks, I'm telling you right now, it's, I wouldn't replace one of these dudes on this roster for anybody. I love this team. I cannot wait to get on the field with them.
I love it, man. You got, man. I don't even watch baseball like that. If it's HBCU baseball, but I'm excited. I really am. Now, Coach, you have mentored some of the best coaches in baseball. What are some qualities that make their team successful? And while you're going, I just want to bring up some of the quotes that some of these top-notch baseball coaches have said about you. It says, Logan is a well-connected of an individual as there is in baseball. It stems from his passions. Let me blow this up. It stems from his passions for the game as well as people that are involved in it. He has always put players on pedestal and looked out for their well-being. Another one, Chris Lemis says Logan is tremendous hire for Arkansas Pine Bluff. His ability to identify and develop players will be a key asset in this job. He will bring energy, enthusiasm to the program and help elevate players on and off the field. I mean, he just continues on and on. I'm thrilled for players at Arkansas Pine Bluff. Logan Stout is an excellent baseball coach who is passionate about the development of men on and off the field. Above all, Logan is an elite level leader who cares about doing it the right way. Carrick Jackson as well, former Southern coach. Logan is a dynamic leader. He is extremely organized and efficient. He is an ultra communication and very effective at connecting people. I see this being a transformative hire for baseball program and one that will help enhance the entire athletic department at UAPB. I mean, you have just been instrumental in so many aspects of college baseball, professional baseball, young men development. So what are some of the qualities that you've seen at these high levels that make their team so successful?
Yeah, very humbled that my friends would go out of the way to make those quotes and whatnot. But I think one of them is they have a growth mindset. One of the coaches you had on there, Brian O'Connor. He brought me in to mentor his entire team and coaching staff. That's a College World Series champion coach, and and I spoke at the ABCA conference this year. You got Tim Corbin in the room. These are legends. These are people that are Hall of Fame. There's a lot of commonalities. I think one is they're confident yet humble. Every one of them are extremely confident yet very humble. Number two, they have a growth mindset. They're always wanting to grow. They're always wanting to get better. And I said that from stage. I said, you got Coach Corbin right here. Guys won 2 College World Series championships. He doesn't need to be in this room. If there's one guy who doesn't need to be in this room taking notes and listening, it'd be that coach. Yet he's in here. And if he's in here taking notes and he's in here learning, we all should be. And you have folks like they're always wanting to get better. And number 3, they genuinely care about the player. Ultra competitive coaches can sometimes be very misunderstood because ultra competitive coaches have a 0 tolerance for mediocrity. 0. People say, well, Coach Stout, what I love about you is you don't have favorites. Oh, yes, I do have favorites. I absolutely have favorites. My favorite player is the one that brings it, who's a great teammate, who wants to grow, who brings attitude, effort, focus all day, every day. Those are my favorite players. So I do have favorites. Yeah. The ones that complain, they get in the car and whine to their parents or their parents whine to them. Yeah, I can't stand that. I can't stand it. And so I think a commonality of coaches is they cannot tolerate wasted time, wasted energy, a lack of excellence, a lack of dedication and discipline. They can't stand it. It drives them nuts. And, when you see players go bash the coaches, on the internet, and the reason they're going to the portal, I'm going to tell you right now, that's not the coach's problem. That kid's got problems. And I see it more and more and more. These kids are not being raised right. I see too many parents wanting to be their son or daughter's friend instead of being their parent. And just simple things like manners. Yes, sir. No, sir. Opening the door for a lady, right? Yeah. Whatever it is, just looking someone in the eye, a good firm handshake, it's just, it's interesting, it's just, and it's one of the reasons I feel God's called me back into college coaching. I want to mentor these young men. You want to go run a company one day? You better know how to lead. You better know how. You want to run a household? You better know how to lead your family. And so when you look at these coaches, they are unequively, undeniably rock solid on who they are. Right? You mentioned Tony Vitello at Tennessee. Tony and I were texting the other day. We were trying to get UAPB. We were trying to play this year, but I'm like, dude, it's an 8-hour drive one way, I'm like, brother, let's look at next year. But at the end of the day, it's like, I remember he and I sitting on a bench in 105-degree weather in the stands at Hillcrest High School. Well, I'm coaching at DBU. He's got an assistant job at Missouri. And we're sitting there and I texted him. I said, after they won the national championship, I said, hey, brother, who would have thought all this time later, you just were number 1 of 1, the first to be the number 1 ranked team to win the College World Series, your first natty. And I just took the job at an HBCU school. Who would ever thought 21 years ago, sitting on the bench in Dallas, Texas, Hillcrest High School. And he said, I know, man, it's crazy. And I just think everybody listening, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but I think everybody listening to this, I think especially maybe folks that are struggling a little bit. I think, it's easy to get in the funk. Right. And not the uptown funk, but in a funk, right? Where things aren't going well. It's easy to get down on yourself or down on your situation. And I just think it's important to remember every expert was at one point in time a beginner. We all started off somewhere. And when you look at these coaches, I think a lot of they don't forget where they came from. That'd be the third thing I would tell you. They have extreme gratitude and appreciation for where they are, who's helped them get there. And so I would say those are 3 of the common things I would say of all of them. But there's a lot more. They're amazing men and amazing leaders.
I like it. Now, let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you this question, the last question, then we get up out of here. What do you feel is the most important position in college baseball, right? Like for you to compete at, with the Tennessees, with the Texases, with the North Carolinas, because, in football, I say, hey, you need an O-line. If we can get those trenches together, we can compete with anybody. The skilled players work themselves out. In basketball, it says, hey, if you got a big man, you know, you got a 6'11", 7-foot big man. We can work with that. What is that position for baseball? Is it the pitcher? Is it, you know, the infield? Is it, you know, what is that position that you're just like, hey, if we can get this right, we'll be in that area of competition?
I mean, obviously pitching. I mean, that's a given. You know, you could take a bad team, but put a legit pitcher on the mound, they become a good team really quick. And, you know, so pitching is, you know, if you were to look at, if take away my role at UAPB and just go back to when I was just a scout and just sending players for the Dallas Patriots to teams, back when I was in that role, the biggest thing I saw typically with HBCU is they had athletes, they had position players, but they didn't have the arms. And where you look at a Tennessee, you know, a Vanderbilt, you reference Texas, A&M this past year, they got the arm. Arkansas, they've got the arms. I mean, they've got the arms, and so I would say pitching. But what I love about baseball is every position matters, right? Because you can have a great pitcher, but if you don't have a great catcher who can't block the ball, who can't receive the ball well, that pitcher is going to struggle. And so I think that's why baseball is such a beautiful game. It's everyone's on an island by themselves, yet dependent on each other. And I think it's such a beautiful game.
I love it. Last question, Coach Stout, before we get you up out of here. What should UAPB fans and baseball fans expect from UAPB in the future?
Well, I mean, I believe your expectations plus your tolerations leads to your destination.
Come on, say that again for the people in the back.
No, I believe your expectations plus your tolerations lead to your destination. So, you know, you'll never hit a bullseye that doesn't exist. And so we have our bullseyes. We have our own group chat where we have our own hashtag where we all know as a family what that means, and the world can know what that means in the future. But, you know, I would expect unprecedented success. Again, as I referenced earlier, I think the greatest coaches and leaders are extremely confident, yet extremely humble. And we can be confused, right? But our expectations are to win and have unprecedented success, even though we've only had 3 weeks to build the team. I mean, I am expecting unprecedented success. And you'll see no toleration for that. And that's the deal. I mean, the players are going to have a whole different level of expectation, and anything outside of that won't be tolerated. And so I would say the fans in the baseball world, I hope the fans come out like crazy. I hope if all you listen to this that have youth teams and whatnot, we want our players to be active in the community. We want our players to be active with the youth. Those little dudes, I remember my little kids, Miles and Cooper, when they were 7, 8, 9, 10, even to this day, 11 and 12, I mean, they look up to these college players like they're celebrities, you know? And so I'm mentoring our athletes on, you're going to be a leader. You need to be a living, breathing, walking billboard of what a leader looks like to these young kids, how you handle yourself when you struggle, how you handle yourself when you succeed. And so we want these youth teams to come to campus. We want them to come. We want them to come to the games. Please DM me on social media or whatever if you're involved in that. But we'd love a packed crowd. We'd love, obviously, I think we're going to put on a show for people. Yeah, I really do. And I mean that with humility. I think God has given us some unbelievable players. You know, I'll put it this way. One of the common questions I've gotten is, why UAPB? Everybody's asking me that. Like, you could have gone and coached here. Why UAPB? And my reply is, why not UAPB? Why not UAPB? And we have an opportunity to do some things no one's ever done in our conference. And we've got a great conference that's very underrated. And we have an opportunity to do something that no HBCU school has ever done. And so you're going to see an opportunity for the fans that truly appreciate baseball. I believe you're going to see one of the greatest in-person baseball experiences you can see without going to, you know, a Power 5 Major League Baseball game. You get to be, all the seats are great at the stadium. It's a wonderful park. It's got wonderful bones. And I hope people will come out, and we fully expect to give Pine Bluff, to give the state of Arkansas, to give HBCU, to give the SWAC, and to give college baseball something to be proud of. That's what we fully expect to do.
Real quick before I let you go, how are you building? Are they high school? Are they JUCO? Or is it a mixture? Is there a philosophy? Because with this transfer portal, you have coaches' philosophy. I don't know how the baseball philosophy, but basketball and football are more, hey, we want seasoned guys. We want guys that have been in college that know the system, get their bodies right. They know about waking up 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. We don't want the high school kids who we don't know if they're going to pan out. So what's your philosophy in how you recruit these baseball players?
It's a great question. And again, it's a loaded question. At the end of the day, we've had 3 weeks. So we had 3 weeks to recruit. So we couldn't exactly, we had to think outside the box a little bit, right? But I like a combination of veterans and a combination of young guys. I believe if you build a true culture, you've got to have young guys that learn the culture who can step up in those roles the next year, But I also believe this, age does not create wisdom. Right? There's a bunch of old people that are really dumb. There's a bunch of young people that are really smart. And so I think sometimes we get too confused on the age. I mean, the greatest leader of all time was crucified at 33 and a half years of age. And so some people would say he was too young to lead, right? Mm-hmm. And so at the end of the day, there are some very wise high school kids, and we've recruited them, and I'm very excited about them. I mean, they're very wise. But for me, it's a combination of who fits what I'm looking for as a player. And then I think ultimately my job as a coach, as a leader, is to prepare them mentally, emotionally, and physically, amongst other things, for what this entails, right? And so I'm not a big fan of, you got to recruit the guy who's ready. No, my job is to prepare them to be ready. That's my job. And so it's what I enjoy, honestly. And so yeah, I mean, it's a loaded question. Obviously, I have a recruiting philosophy. What we did this year, by the grace of God, we got a bunch of players that fit exactly what my recruiting philosophy is in a very, very short period of time. And honestly, I'll tell you this. This goes back to the Dallas Patriots. This goes back to what I'm doing right here now. If you build the right culture, you don't even have to recruit. The players come to you, and I can tell you, and it's very humbling. I'm saying this with all the humility in the world, but when that announcement happened, my phone blew up from people. And so how did we put a roster together so quick? I haven't been to one game. I've not been to one game to watch players, nor have any of our coaches. We haven't had time.
Yeah.
But we've had unbelievable people that we trust call and send us players. And for all of you that are listening to this, that are those guys that are my buddies that have sent players, I thank you very, very much, because we would not have our roster like we have right now without you. And so the network of friends around the country and around the world that have sent us players is why we have the roster that we have. And it's not because of anything I've done. Again, I have not gone out and recruited. I've got on the phone, I've shared my heart, and the ones that want to buy into that, great. The ones that don't, great. I'm rooting for them. I want them to do well wherever they're supposed to be. But I believe the right culture will naturally attract the right people, and it'll naturally repel the people that don't belong. And so I'm very excited about where we are this year one, and I wouldn't exchange any of these dudes for anybody. I love them, and I can't wait to get on the field with them.
I'm gonna ask you this question. He's actually an Arkansas Pine Bluff native. He went to UAPB for a year, then went to Southern. But he asked him, how does he plan to get the city of Pine Bluff and the surrounding areas to buy into the supporting program? Perry, I know you probably get on here late. He did say he wanted youth programs to come out to the game to be a part of the experience. But Coach, you can touch on that a little bit more, and we'll let you go.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet the alum. Again, it's a 150-year history at UAPB. It's a legacy institution, one I'm humbled and honored to be a part of. And so I can't wait to be active in the community. I can't wait for my family. I mean, I went over Mrs. Thomas Groceries is right across the street from the field, from the stadium. And I got to go over there for her birthday. And she's like, Coach, you bring those boys in here. I'll get them food when they go on the road. I mean, the people of Pine Bluff are unbelievable. But let's just be honest. People like to support a winner.
Facts.
I mean, I've been with the Texas Rangers for a long time, and before I took this job, obviously, and our stadium wasn't selling many tickets when we weren't winning. And when you go win, it's amazing how the ticket prices go up and you can't get a seat. And, I don't know anybody that wants to donate to a loser. Torrey Hunter's one of my dear friends. It's Torrey Hunter Baseball Complex. I was laughing with Torrey. I said, if they don't start winning, you're going to want to take a name off that stadium, aren't you? He's got a generous heart, but bottom line is new people solve old problems sometimes.
Yeah.
And you know, if what's the definition of insanity? You keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Right? And so I honor A.D. Robinson and the athletic department staff and for thinking outside the box and allowing me to be a part of the family. And I believe that when we get to connect and meet and shake hands and I think the community is going to want to rally behind what we're doing, improving the facilities, improving everything. I mean, everything. And, you know, again, I hope and pray that the community will get involved, will be a part of it, because I want them to know we care about the community. We care about what's going on. And I think when you win, people are going to want to be a part of something special. Absolutely. And I believe we're about to have something special.
Listen, Coach, I'm excited. Listen, I love the philosophy. I love the mindset. Shout out to A.D. Robinson, because doing a hire like you is unprecedented in itself in the space that you're currently in, right? Like going out to get a guy like you to be infiltrated into the system and letting you do what you do. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what you're going to put together on the field. I might have to come get a little baseball in me, because
you better
what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? See if
you better come out. You better let me know when you're coming too. Seriously, you better come out.
I know Perry gonna hold me accountable. He was like, man, you said you was going to Arkansas, man. What's up with that? So but listen, Coach, I appreciate your time. I thank you so much. I'm honored for you to jump on the platform and tell us about what you're doing. We're definitely going to keep you locked in. I'm going to stay in touch, and I hope to see great things from UAPB baseball.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you having me on.
Anytime. Hey, guys, listen. You already know what it is. That was Coach Stout from UAPB baseball, new head coach of UAPB baseball. Man, listen, amazing man, an amazing opportunity. Talking to him on the phone got me so excited. I was like, I don't even like baseball. I don't even like baseball like that, unless Bama's hitting home runs, right? But you know, let me just say this. I like FAMU baseball because of Ty Jackson and the media team behind FAMU. You feel like you know the players. They're exciting. You know what I'm saying? Alabama State is just a winner, right? I think what Coach Stout is doing at UAPB can fall into a bit of both of those lines. Maybe it's just the winning, right? Maybe he gets that team on the field and they just start winning, and it's just different and it has a vibe to it. And you're just like, yo, UAPB, really? Right? He goes out, he's competing, he's keeping games close, or he's neck and neck with the top programs that he's competing against, right? Like, that's what you want to see. And I'm curious to see what he builds. I really am. So listen, if you're a UAPB alum, or if you're a UAPB supporter, or you just live in the city of Pine Bluff, you need to come out and support UAPB baseball, man. That's been my time. Listen, guys, I appreciate you guys. Haven't done an interview in a good little minute. I'm glad to get back into it. I appreciate Coach Logan Stout. I appreciate UAPB's administrative office for allowing him to come on and speak and talk about the program. I appreciate that as well. Shout out to A.D. Robinson, all right? Listen, until next time, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to holler. God bless.